Hi everybody, today I'm talking about spanning tree protocol and what is it. Have you ever built a network infrastructure that is high available in case of any link or device failure? So that's why spanning tree protocol is used for having network infrastructure that is resistant against any network failure, network loop for endless communication. So be with me till the end of this video for understanding complete spanning tree protocol step by step. In today's lecture, we will cover the following topic for spanning tree protocols. In the following network infrastructure, we have a compound containing 3 buildings. The server room is in the main building, while the research and production buildings are connected to main building for accessing all network services. Now the question is, what happens if the connection between main building and the production building is interrupted or goes down? How can the production building maintain access to network services in such a scenario? So we can simply connect a research building with production building via cable. And if research building connection goes failed, it will have communication to the server room via production building or second route. Now you might ask a second question. What happens if both links of research building is going to active with the server room at the same time? So in simple word, we can say the loop will start between the networks. And here the STP will jump and stop the loop over the network and keep one link as an active and second link as a backup.
So please stay with us till the end of this video for complete understanding of spanning tree protocol. And if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe the channel for supporting us to prepare more networking videos.
Before deep dive into STP and or STP configurations, let's see the practical scenario how network loops can affect and disturb our network infrastructure. PC1 sends a broadcast message to DHCP server for receiving IP address. When switch 1 receives that broadcast message, it will forward it to out all ports except the one it came from. Similarly, when switch 2 receives the broadcast message from switch 1, it will forward it out all port, its connected devices, into switch 3. So the switch 3 will do the same function, and it will forward out all port except the port it was received, and forward the broadcast message to switch 1 and all its connected devices. Finally, this broadcast message will received on switch 1 again, and the switch 1 again will forward that message to switch 2, and switch 2 will forward to switch 3. So this is a network loop. This process continues, causing the network to be overwhelmed and leading to complete network failure and the termination of network services. Finally, to create a network infrastructure with redundant links in a loop-free system, we need to implement the spanning tree protocol or STP.
Now let's see how STP can help us. STP or Spanning Tree Protocol helps prevent loops in the network by creating a loop-free topology through a process of path selection and blocking redundant paths.
Here how it works in 5 stages. Stage 1 or root bridge election. In the first stage, all connected switches in the network will talk to each other and selecting one switch as a root bridge or king of the network. It means all switches are selecting one path to the root bridge as an active path, and the rest of paths should be as a backup. When STP is enabled, all switches in the network communicate with each other using Bridge Protocol Data Unit or BPDUs. This BPDUs contains information about the network topology. It means that it is showing which path is active and which will be in the passive states. Also, each switch has a default priority number of 32768 plus VLAN ID counts. It means 32768 plus 1 is equal to 32769. So it means all connected switches have the same priority number. Now the question is, if the priority of all switches are equal, so how can the root bridge will be elected among them? The answer is simple. If the priority number is equal, then the switch with the lowest MAC address will be elected as a root bridge or king of the network. Priority number with switch MAC address is called a bridge ID. That is used over the network topology to select switch as a root bridge. So finally, switches first compare the priority number and then compare the switch's MAC address to be as a root bridge. Now let's check the STP status on switch 1. Open the network diagram, click on switch 1, click on See Light Up, enter into the configuration mode, type Show Spanning Tree. You can see this switch is selected as a root bridge with having lowest bridge ID or BID. Now let's jump to the second stage or path selection. Once the root bridge is elected, STP calculates the shortest path from the root bridge to all other switches in the network using the root path cost. The path with the lowest cost is selected as an active path, while other paths are considered as a redundant. Based on the table, the link with a gigabit speed has 4 score, and with 100 megabit per second has 19 score, and the link with 10 Mbps has 100 score. Now all the links between switches are gigabit. It means the cost between each switch is 4. Switch 2 has 3 paths to the root bridge switch. This path with 4 cost, this path with 4 plus 4 plus 4 is equal to 12 cost, and the third path with 4 plus 4 equal to 8 cost. So switch 2 is selecting this path to the root bridge, and switch 2 this port stat is going to be root port. The switch tree has 3 ways to connect to the root bridge, same as switch 2. This path with 4 cost, this path with 4 plus 4 plus 4 equal to 12 cost, and the third path is 4 plus 4 is equal to 8 cost. So switch 3 will select this path as an active path, and switch 3 this port stat is going to be root port. Switch 4 has 2 paths to the root bridge with equal cost through switch 2 and switch 3. This path is 4 plus 4 equal to 8, and this path is also 4 plus 4 is equal to 8. Now the question is, switch 4 has 2 paths with the same cost, so which path should it select to the root bridge? If the cost is same, it will go for the lowest MAC address of next switch. As switch 2 has the lowest MAC address, it will select this path as an active path toward the root bridge. And switch 4 this port is going to be root port. Now let's jump to the stage 3 or blocking redundant paths. Spanning tree will block any redundant paths that could form a loop. For example, if there are 4 switches connected by multiple links, only one link is used for communication, and the other links are placed in blocking state. If we divide this network infrastructure into 2 parts, we have 2 paths with a loop. The first loop is between switch 1, switch 2, and switch 3. One of these links should be in block state. The second loop is between switch 2, switch 3, and switch 4. So the same, one of this link also should going to be in blocking state. Otherwise, network loop will occur. Switch 2 will select its Giga 1/0/1 as an active path and put its Giga 0/2 and Giga 0/3 as a backup link. Switch 3 will do the same process and put its Giga 1/0/1 as an active and Giga 0/2 and Giga 0/3 as a backup link. Now came to switch 4, it's selecting its Giga 1/0/1 as an active and Giga 0/2 as a backup link. Now it's time to go deep to understand STP port roles and its status. We have 4 port types in STP or spanning tree protocol: forwarding state, designated state, blocking state, and root port. First, all connected ports in the root switch is going to be as a designated. I mean gig 0/1 and gig 0/2 in switch 1 is going to be in designated role. Let's open the packet tracer, open switch 1 and go to the configuration, show spanning tree. You can see both of its port status in designated status. Second, port gig 0/1 in switch 2, switch 3 and switch 4 is going to be as a root port. Third, switch 4 root port is toward switch 2. So switch 2 gig 0/2 port is going to be in designated state. Fourth, now 2 connections are remaining between switch 4 and switch 3 and switch 3 and switch 2. I mean we have identified our root ports and our designated ports. So which of these ports should be in blocking state and which of these should be in forwarding state? The port connected with switch that have lowest MAC address is going to be selected as a designated port, and with having the highest MAC address is going to be selected as a block port. I mean switch 2 has the lowest MAC address compared to switch 3, so port gig 0/3 is going to be in designated state in switch 2, and port gig 0/3 in switch 3 will be in the blocking state. Open the switch tree, go to configuration mode and show spanning tree. You can see that this port is in a blocking state. Now the same story is between switch 4 and switch 3. Gig 0/2 in switch 4 will be in block state, and gig 0/2 in switch 3 is going to be in designated state. Open switch 4, go to the configuration mode, show spanning tree. You can see this interface is in a blocking state. It's time to dive in stage 4 or reconfiguration in case of failure. If the active path failed, for example, a link or a switch goes down, STP will automatically recalculate the best path and unblock one of the redundant paths to ensure network connectivity is restored. Normally, this network restoration will take up to 50 seconds. 20 seconds is required as switch detect a link failure and send receiving BPDU message. 15 seconds required for listening and 15 seconds required for learning. Total require 50 seconds for recovering the network infrastructure to stable services. The final stage or the fifth stage, BPDU exchange. Regularly, BPDU exchange between switches ensure that all devices are aware of network topology. And if any change occur like a switch or link failure, the protocol recalculates the topology and updates the active and block paths to maintain a loop-free network. Now it's time for STP or spanning tree protocol configuration. By default, this protocol is activated in all switches. But for configuring this protocol, let's open the switch, go to the configuration mode and type spanning tree mode STP. We have successfully configured the spanning tree protocol in this switch, and we can do the same command in all connected switches. can change the root bridge from one switch to another switch in case of any priority or that is required to change a root bridge from one switch to another switch. Just go to the configuration mode, type spanning tree, VLAN 1, priority. Just type the lowest priority. Thereafter, this switch will going to be as a root bridge. Now it's time to know about the STP port status. We have 5 port status in STP: disabled, blocking, listening, learning, and forwarding states. When the port is in blocking state, it will not forward any frame and it's only listening to the BPDUs. The port in listening state, it's only listening to the BPDUs to ensure there are no loops in the network. The port in learning state, it's only learning the MAC addresses and does not forwarding any frames. In the port in forwarding state, the port will transfer and send frames and also continue to learn MAC addresses. And if the port is in disabled state, it means that port is disabled by the administrator. Now it's time to know about the PortFast in STP. PortFast is designed to optimize the behavior of ports that is connected with the endpoint devices like PC, printers, or servers. With PortFast, the port skips the listening and learning state directly to forwarding state, allow endpoint devices to communicate immediately after being connected. Now, how to configure the PortFast? Go to the configuration mode and select those interfaces that are connected with the endpoint devices and type spanning tree PortFast. Now it's time to jump to know more version of STPs. We have 5 other versions of a spanning tree protocol with quite better performance than STP, and we will discuss each of this in the incoming videos. Thank you so much and Allah Hafiz.